that off. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Atlanta Falcons Nation. How are you guys doing today?
All is well. All is well. All is well. Let's get it cracking.
Let's get it cracking. Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and get into our introductions. Top of the hour, we have Mr. Kstlyz at the top, above our special guest there. How you doing, Kstlyz?
Hey, I'm good, man. Hey, like I said, this is an honor and a privilege. And make sure, like I said, your screens does not deceive you. This is not Tay Diggs.
He snuck one in right there.
This is somebody that is better and we hold dear to our hearts. So
absolutely. All right. Hey, welcome. And next to him, who do we have?
You already know Mr. Jew Talk Sports. Juju on that beat, calm before the storm. It's definitely an honor. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Terance Mathis. Hey, this is like a dream come true for me.
Oh, yeah. This is pretty much your first interview, I believe. Look, get into 1,000 first interview. You know what? You are rolling today, sir. And we did have Matt Mike. I guess he having some technical difficulties. Thank you, Asia. I love my hair, too. Thank you, ma'am. But let's go ahead. The man of the hour, you know, you don't need no introduction, but just because you are you, Terance Mathis, tell us who you are. In case people don't know who you are.
Hey, of course, Terance Mathis, former NFL wide receiver with the Atlanta Falcons, number 81, but number 1 in your heart. I am that dude, always will be that dude.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being on today. You know, we're running behind just a little bit, people. We apologize for that, but Matt Mike will be joining in a moment. But let's get into these questions, people. And thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. Go ahead and share the stream and everything out. I appreciate you guys as well. I see you, Muhammad. I see you, ATM 3405. Hi, Isaac. How you doing? I see everybody. Ivan, what's going on, people? But we're going to go ahead and get started on these questions because we need to get to know the man, the myth, the legend. So, first question while I get my audio together. What inspired you to play football?
Ooh, it was funny. I was 6 years old, and my uncle and cousins and played Little League football, and I used to go watch them practice all the time. And actually, my uncle was the coach. One of my uncles was the coach, and he was pretty much babysitting me. So he gave me a football. The first time I touched a football, I was 6 years old, touched the football, and I played with it for 2 hours. And right then I fell in love with it. I watched them practice. I watched games, and I just fell in love with it. It was just one of those things that I slept with a football, and my mom used to think I was crazy. It was like my child. And, you know, it was one of those sports that you kind of was pushed into. You watched it from your relatives, then you watched the game. And when I was younger, I got really intrigued with it because my grandfather and I always used to watch one game during the Thanksgiving time, and that was Ohio State and Michigan. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. So I used to watch that game all the time, and I was like, oh, man, I want to be Anthony Carter. That's all I wanted to be growing up. And then, you know, as you got older, you mimic some of the other guys and you know, was inspired by a lot more.
Okay. And I guess speaking of, since you said that, who inspired you as far as other than your love and passion for it as a kid, what player, you know, inspired you actually? And it doesn't even have to be NFL.
You mean what players?
Players. It was better.
It was tons of them. You know, it was from Mercury Morris. It was, you know, Doug Williams. I used to, you know, we couldn't afford jerseys or anything like that. So I used to take a white T-shirt and draw a 12 on it. And I was Doug Williams playing in the park. You know, and Eric Dickerson and then, you know, Jerry Rice as I got older. It was a lot of cats. Lynn Swan, John Starworth, Drew Pearson, Tony Dorsett. It was so many that, you know, inspired me and got me excited about playing at the ultimate level, and that's the professional level.
Okay. Any guys y'all want to add to that before I get to the next question?
Yeah, and
Got a question for him.
He hate me. He hate me. That's it.
Drew, you had a question? Go ahead.
I had a quick question.
Okay.
Were you a Detroit Lions fan growing up? Because I know you mentioned that you're from Detroit, Michigan. Growing up, was the Detroit Lions your team, or was it another team?
Billy Sims was my guy. Billy Sims was my dude. What are you talking about? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was Detroit Lions all day, you know. Oh, man. Woo. I remember I used to love those Thanksgiving games with Detroit and the Vikings all the time. Y'all don't remember. Y'all too young to remember this. I know you are. Eddie Payton, Walter Payton's brother, one Thanksgiving Day showed out. Oh, wow. It was, you know, hey man, I go, look, I'm a fan. I'm gonna always be a fan. I love the game, man. I love the game.
I'm glad you loved it because we enjoyed watching you play for the Falcons, definitely. And actually, who was your favorite teammate or coach you played with when you played with the Falcons? Actually,
oof. See, that's an unfair question because I'm gonna make somebody mad if I don't say the right name. How about this? All of them. No.
For your position, who you had to basically be side by side, as far as who you had to interact with every day as a Falcon.
My favorite coach in my years with the Falcons probably was Art Shell. Art Shell was the first Black head football coach in the National Football League with the Raiders. He came over to us and he was an offensive line coach, and he was a true man. And he helped me, to stay a professional. Some of the things that he would tell us about the old days, some of the, like Marcus Allen and some of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame now, your eyes will be big and you go, wow. And he was a true inspiration, just being around him. Far as players, who I played with. I played with Andre Rison, Bert Emanuel, Eric Metcalf, Ricky Sanders, J.J. Burden, quite a few guys, But the guy that probably I complimented with the most was Tony Martin. Tony Martin, I remember him coming in from San Diego. We were roommates, and first thing he said to me, he says, "We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're gonna catch 100 balls apiece. We're gonna go over 1,000 yards, and we're gonna have double-digit touchdowns." I was like, okay. And we competed against each other every day in practice. And on game day, we never worried about who had all the catches or who didn't have any catches, because we knew sooner or later it was going to balance out. And it kind of did. The only stat that I beat him in that year, and we did actually go to the Super Bowl that year, it was touchdowns. Other than that, we were comfortable. Everything else was kind of even.
Okay, and then you get into the Pro Bowl that year, or what year was that?
It was after my 94. It was my first season here after I left New York. I came here as a free agent, and it was my first year here at 94. I caught 111 balls. You're going to always remember this because it's your Pro Bowl year. 111 balls, 1,342 yards, and 11 touchdowns. I'm going to always remember that. That was the best season.
Remember the numbers.
There's a lot of ones in them numbers, I'm telling you.
Number one.
At the time, that was the third most catches in NFL history. So, like we said, there was always someone before someone else. But it was a fun year. I went to the Pro Bowl and I was in awe because I'm playing with guys that, you grew up watching, Jerry Rice, and, hung out with Barry Sanders. And I had my quarterbacks with Steve Young, Troy Aikman, and Warren Moon, all in the Hall of Fame. So it was an amazing experience.
Oh yeah, and I could imagine that. Like you said, it's basically you're competing against these teammates or other teams, but to get together and have to be a part of the South or whichever,
Right.
it's kind of an honor, to kind of
It
play
is.
these people together on the same team.
It
So
is.
now a lot of things have changed with this Pro Bowl stuff lately because of COVID.
Yeah.
But just to have that experience then probably was awesome. And let's get into, since we are going into our draft, I kind of want to get into since you remember your Pro Bowl days, what was your experience just being drafted?
Terrible.
Do you remember that?
Terrible.
Terrible.
You gotta understand, I came out of college, I was a consensus All-American. I broke numerous of not only university records, but conference records and NCAA records. So I was projected to be one of the first 3 receivers drafted in the 1990 draft. And we had a big party and everything. And first round goes by and nothing. Second round goes by, nothing. Third round goes by, nothing. The day ends. And I'm going, they take it off the air, but this draft is going on. And I keep getting phone calls from my agent and people are calling him, but nobody's pulling the trigger. I left that evening and I was distraught. Then I got mad. I got really, 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 really mad. And all I said is, I said, Lord, just give me one team, just one team. And I promise you, I'm going to play my butt off for that team. And the New York Jets called me on the second day. And I played 4 years with the New York Jets. I got drafted in the 6th round. This is the amazing thing. There were 17 other receivers picked before me. And out of those 17 receivers picked, maybe one has more catches that I've had in my career. Maybe one has only played more than 6 years. And then the 19th receiver picked in the draft was Shannon Sharp, who would turn into a tight end and is now is a Hall of Famer. So it was funny because we were sitting there at the combine on the floor and we kept saying, we're not going to run fast. We're not going to run fast. We didn't run fast, and that's probably why we didn't get drafted as high as we should have. But, look, I played with a chip on my shoulders for 13 years, and, finally it's going down a little bit.
That chip will always be there. You know that because you are a definite legend.
It's there because, you got to understand the mentality that I had was, coming out of college, that they were telling me, coming out of high school, they were telling me I was too small. I wasn't tall enough. Those things wasn't big enough. I remember a recruiter pulled me out of class. He loved my film, and he said, "You're gonna be a great player, but you're really too small to play in the SEC." And that was the University of Tennessee. Oh man, I cursed him out in my head. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't want to be disrespectful. But the ironic thing was I got a chance to play Tennessee my sophomore year in Knoxville and put on a show. I tried to find that coach after the game. I couldn't find him. But, every time I had an opportunity to play against the SEC team, I wanted to break a record or establish who I was as a player. And they missed out on it. So I've had a chip on my shoulder most of my life. Then coming out of college, they said I wasn't fast enough, tall enough, big enough, which I wasn't. I went to the Jets. It's funny. The first day I went to the Jets, I weighed in. I was 160 pounds, 160-pound wide receiver. And they said I was too slow, not big enough. But one fall afternoon, we playing the Cowboys. I caught a punt, went 98 yards for a touchdown, which still is a Jets record. And it was an NFL record for a while. I'm saying these things to say that every time you tell me I can't, I'm going to prove to you that I can. And then, after I established myself in the NFL, they says, well, you'd never be a every down player. You always be a third down player because you're not big enough whatsoever. So then I come to Atlanta. And that first year, you know what happened. I gave you the numbers. So you keep telling me I can't. I'm going to prove you wrong every time.
Okay. And Mike, you said you had a question.
I do. I kind of go back to what he was saying about this is a question that it wasn't necessarily on the list, but this is something that we actually did an interview with Reggie Kelly. We did an interview with Reggie Kelly, and Reggie, he gave you a lot of praise, and basically he was saying not only him, Chuck Smith, Reggie Kelly. Like one of the things that they said they admired most about you was your ability to just find a way to get open. Somehow, some way, you always found a way to get open. How exactly? Because this is something that, like, we got guys that can run a 4.2. You seen the combine numbers these days.
Yeah.
How in the hell did you get open when you were so slow? How did that happen?
It was film study. Learning the game, being a student of the game, working on your craft, doing things, in practice, trying out things, not being afraid to be different in the way you run routes and those things. And the way I studied film was second to none. I can honestly watch any one of you for 3 minutes, just walk around, jog around, and I can tell you the deficiency in the way you run, the way you walk, and how I would attack you if I was playing against you or if you was playing against me. And that was the whole story of it. It was the whole story. And then learning where everyone was in zone defense, man defense, and then knowing in that zone who were the guys that was going to get to you fast or who they didn't, who was the big hitters, who was the grapplers, all those things that, I learned to help me to be the best that I could be.
Can I throw a second? I want to throw a second question to that, because that right there is something I find interesting. We're talking about a guy that studied film, but there's things in the NFL right now as far as the receivers are concerned. Like what? And you may have just answered the question, but what about the receivers today? There's something that you see that they don't do that you guys did in the day.
I tell you, I'm say this. This is that coaching is terrible in the NFL.
Whoa!
I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's some teams just don't have really good football. They have coaches, but they don't have teachers. You got to understand, if you can't teach a kid, if you can't get a kid that's coming out of college that runs a 4.3 40, he's 6'5", 215 pounds, and you can't teach him how to get in and out of his breaks, how to separate, to create angles, all these things, you're just collecting a check. Because, when you get to the NFL, some of the coaches that are coaching positions have never played those positions before. So now you're getting coaches that's just getting game plans and practice plans and saying, this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to practice. And you go out there and you do drills, but you don't know how to demonstrate drills or tell him how the drills are going to affect him or help him when he gets on the field on Sunday afternoons. So that's the problem. That's the difference you see, because there's a lot of talent that comes through the pipe here on every team. And you always go, why is he a bust? Or why did he get better? It's not his fault. Okay, let me take that back. It's not all his fault at the end of the day. But my thing, and I told you guys earlier, I'm a straight shooter. I'm gonna tell you the way it is. There's bad coaching in the NFL. Understand this. When you get to week 14 and 15, and you have 60% or even 70% of your NFL teams vying for a playoff spot. What is that? What is that? And I'm not talking about with teams that's got 10 or 11 or 12. I'm talking about teams with 6 and 7 and 8 wins. What is that? That's parity. Mm-hmm. That's parity, and that's what the NFL wanted. That's what it's come to, because I'm gonna say it again. When you hire your friends, or when you hire with nepotism, that is what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
that is what you're gonna get.
Absolutely, because they do seem to kind of fill in rosters and positions, and coaching positions based on, like you said, friendship. Man. If you worked with this person before, let's bring them back on over. Let's do it again. Mm-hmm. That doesn't change anything about the concept after the fact. You failed this the first time. What makes you think coming back to get on a whole nother team with a different game plan is going to change anything sometimes?
Since we're talking about coaching whatsoever, I'm going to segue into this. You cannot tell me there's a league that's 70% black players, African-American players, and it's been that way for almost 20 plus years. It's been that way for 20 plus years, and we keep seeing the decline in black head coaches in the NFL. That's strange to me. And then you hey man, this man got AK-47. Hell with the heck, man. You coming? This is what you tell us. This is what you tell us. Well, you need to coach at some level, high school. You need to coach at the college level, be a coordinator, do an internship whatsoever, and then hopefully get hired. Be quality control whatsoever. So my 13 years. My Pro Bowl status, my All-Pro status, it plays against me because I didn't do all those things. And this dude who played high school football and been an intern and been a do-boy for so many years, all of a sudden he gets going, gets upward mobility. And then you weigh him against me because he has 13 years of coaching experience, or he's been in the NFL for 13 years. Well, I played for 13 years. Don't that count for something? That's against us. That is really against us. And you know what? It's a crying shame. It's a crying shame. It is the way it is. But let me tell you something. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shut everybody's mouth. It's a copycat league. All their coordinators, special teams, offense, and defense coordinators were African Americans, and they won the Super Bowl. So you still say we can't coach? You still say we can't coach? Okay. What's the excuse? What's the excuse now? There's no excuses. There's no excuses.
Okay. Hey, I'm about to. Hey, look, I'm about to say, boy, you about to make me reach into my wallet and give you about $5 on that one. I'm telling you.
Y'all silly. Y'all silly, man.
Hey.
Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Please go check out that channel. You're going to get a lot of hot takes at that channel.
Exactly. Hey, look, I was about to say, when he was talking about them coaches, boy, I had to hold back. Hold on.
You know what? Listen to me. At the end of the day, I get it. It's going to upset some people. It may even upset some people in the Falcon organization. It may upset some people, but that's okay. Guess what? I'll be 54 in June. I've been trying to get a job for 12 years in NFL, and it looks like it's not going to happen. So guess what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
You do what you're doing right about now.
Anyway. You're not going to hire me anyway. So what? So let me tell you what I think, how I feel. So
absolutely. Yes, so definitely go follow his platform so y'all can follow him. He gives his takes.
But the thing is, I didn't say any names, so I'm good.
And you did it.
We got this. Look, this is, we don't do that here, man. What stays here stays here. Okay, if they want to come, they want to see what Terance said. They got to come to Atlanta Falcons Nation. They got to go Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Go check him out if you want to hear from him. All right, so we don't do all that.
Kstlyz, you had something? I know you've been waiting.
I'm throwing the jazz fingers because he did. Hey man, like I said, you just dropped a whole bunch of gems there, boy.
Y'all got me. Hey, you talk about certain things, I get hot.
Hey, it's a passionate subject.
Well, I saw the steam coming out of the head and fought the camera and all that stuff. but since you saying all that, the 1998 season.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, yeah.
Super Bowl. Tell us that experience that led up to that Super Bowl and how it was experiencing that big game and how special that season was.
And my question also to add to that, did y'all party in Miami?
Okay. I'm gonna give you all that. We need to
talk to Eugene Robinson for that shit.
You know, we started the season with a win. We started the season with a win against Carolina. And then we won our second game. Then we went on the road against San Francisco and got beat really bad. And it was one of those things that, you know, it was like we can't win them all. That's the way we felt. We can't win them all. So we were 4-1. No, we were 3-1 going into New York to play. No, we were 4-1 going into New York to play the Jets, and we got beat handedly against the Jets. So I remember this is where our season turned around. We got in the locker room and everybody was down. Chuck Smith went off and says, "What do you know? Wait, hey, season's not over with. We're still 4-2. You know, it's not over.
Yeah,
with.
It's not over.
We went crazy, and everybody started high fiving each other and said, "Let's finish strong. Let's finish strong." And as you know, we rolled after that. We went on a roll after that, and then we get into the playoffs. We beat the San Francisco 49ers the second time we played them, so we knew we possibly was going to see them again in the playoffs. So we get them in the playoffs at home, and it was that feeling of we're not going to lose. We're not going to lose, and we had that cocky confidence going all the way through. We get to Minnesota, we play in that game, and we were down. We were down in that game, and where that game turned around was right before half. Chuck Smith got a strip sack, recovered the ball. Next play, touchdown pass to me, and now instead of being down 20-something points, we were down 18 at halftime, and then we came out in the second half and we took it down to the wire. And you know, unfortunately, their kicker missed a field goal, gave us a chance, and we drove down and won the football game. So man, you talking about a magical season. You talking about 53 guys who just loved each other. When I say we loved each other, we truly cared about each other. We trusted each other. We trusted the coaching staff. See, that's the difference between champions and non-champions. There's trust has to go on between players and coaches and players. If that does not happen, you're not going to win a championship. And you may get there, but you may not win it. So we go into the Super Bowl. That week was we did some things uncharacteristic of the Atlanta Falcons and the Dirty Birds. And it kind of took us off kilter a little bit. We get into that game, and it was kind of funky situation. And we had chances to score touchdowns, kick field goals, and be in the game. And, you know, and we threw interceptions when the guys were open. So we partied a little bit until Wednesday, because Wednesday was curfew time. So we got there on a Sunday. We partied all the way up into Tuesday night. And then curfew started Wednesday on out.
I'm listening to this part because
yeah, I know. I was good on that trip because my wife was there with our newborn. My mom was there.
So you had to act right.
Yeah, I had to act right. My mom was there. My sisters were there. My aunt and uncle was there. So my grandparents was there. So I was on. But you know, and I know what you're alluding to. It was unfortunate. The Eugene Robinson thing happened. It was really, really unfortunate. It, you know, for a guy that is loved by so many and an inspiration to so many and been an influence to so many. it was something that, hey man, we all are human. We fall. We fall.
Absolutely.
The thing
is, we
trying
to get him on the show. Shoot,
we fall. We get back up. We fall and we get back up.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you something. I would never blame Eugene Robinson for a loss of a game because one man does not win or lose a football game.
It's a team effort, definitely.
I still love him like a brother, and he knows how I feel. There's some teammates still hold resentment against him, but I can't because at the end of the day, we've all made mistakes, and we all want to be forgiven for our mistakes. And
who we can blame for that? I'll blame that. I remember this game like it was yesterday. It was right before we started to play. The Denver Broncos was doing the dirty bird on the field. I don't know if you recall that. But it was the whole headline, and they was doing the dirty bird. I was like, look at them mocking us already. Well, I felt like that put a damper on our spirits in the beginning.
I'm gonna spill the tea right here if you never heard this story before. So Wednesdays, when you go into practice, is usually the game plan day. That's when you practice the game plan leading up to Sunday. So the defensive game plan, special team, offensive game plan. So when we get the offensive game plan on Wednesday morning meetings, I'm sitting in there and I'm looking at it. I'm flipping pages, and I don't recognize anything on the page. And I'm going, what the hell is this? And receiver coach said, well, this is what they we're gonna run this week. I got up, true story. I got up, ran into the offensive coordinator room where the quarterbacks were, and asked him, I says, what is this? What is this? We haven't done this ever. What is this? Even Chris Chandler was like, I was mad. So we're going to play the biggest game in Atlanta Falcon history. And here it is, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We had 3 days to get really good at something we haven't done all year.
I knew it seemed like you guys were kind of just.
We were off. You can see.
I was definitely off. Yeah.
The same thing, defense did the exact same thing. So you got your defense and your offense trying to perfect a game plan that they've never done before the biggest game of Falcons history. Why didn't we do this, put this in the bye week, the week before we got to Miami? Then we probably would have had it down pat going into the week of the game. But that's what happened. And look, even Dan Reeves even admitted and apologized for that. So, I'm not saying nothing that's not true. So you have those things, and then you have the distraction, and there was the downfall right there.
Yeah.
I should have had a Marty trophy sitting right here for y'all to see it.
But you guys were still the best team that year, though.
Gosh, it had to be Dirk Cutter. Dirk Cutter had to be your offensive coordinator. I'll put that right there.
I know. Change what works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, so only question I would have to ask Eugene Robinson about that situation is this chick better been at least a 9.
No.
Well, you know what the thing is that the charges was dropped.
That's the main thing. That's good.
The charges was dropped, and my thing is I don't like talking about it because it's not my story.
Exactly.
And it's not my situation. He would have to tell you everything about it. I know what happened, and because I have talked to him about it, but it ain't my place to tell you the whole story. It's his
got a connection, if y'all still communicate, tell him Atlanta Falcons Nation would love to interview him.
Sure
just throwing it out there.
Correct stuff. Like we're not
politically correct.
Yeah,
it's that you get to speak freely, as open as you want. This is not the place for all that politically correct stuff.
Yeah,
this is the real Atlanta Falcons thing.
I get you.
What else we have? Sports, Jew Talks, what you got going on? And I have a couple of more questions. We're going to get into these current Falcons in a moment.
Okay.
But go ahead, and Jew, what you got for them?
That's what I want to ask about. I want to ask about these current Falcons because he is straight student.
Let's do it.
So I know that he's not going to gloss over it. What is the biggest problem with our current Atlanta Falcons? If you want to take it back to last season, what's our biggest deficiency? What do we need to fix with this team? Do you feel like Matt Ryan is one of our problems? Because our fan base, for whatever reason, thinks that Matt Ryan is one of our major issues and that we need to draft one of these young quarterbacks. So I want to hear it from the man himself that played the game. They don't think we know anything. Me, Mad Mike, and KSTYLZ and Miss Maggie, we just fans. But we need to hear it from the man, the myth, the legend. What is the problem with these current Falcons? Why are we underachieving? Because we got way too much talent on this team to be going, what, 4-12?
I already know. His head went straight to the ground. I already know what he's about to say.
let me ask you this. Well, let me say it this way. If I score 35 points and you score 36, who wins?
I knew it. I knew it.
So you keep saying, but see, we want to blame Matt because even though that team scored that 36 point and we get the ball back, we want him to win the game. And when he does not win the game, it's Matt's fault.
Right.
Understand this. In every football franchise, only two people get wins and losses. That's the head coach and the quarterback. You never heard us say Julio Jones is 4-12. No. You never heard it. You never even heard Arthur Blank is 4-12.
No.
Right. The coach is the head coach and the quarterback. That's where wins and losses come from. But let me tell you this. This is what I see with this Falcons team over the last 3 years. Is this, they kind of went on this brotherhood thing. But who was the big brother in the brotherhood?
Boy, oh my God.
Who was the big brother? Who was the big brother in the brotherhood?
Oh my God.
We've been saying that.
It's brotherhood, but there's got to be a big brother, or there's got to be 2 or 3 big brothers.
Absolutely.
That's saying, come on, follow me, jump on my back, let me lead you. Come on, I got you, and when I'm down, you got me. But I kept hearing this. I kept waiting.
Nobody, no accountability from nobody.
And you know what? You know what though? The thing is that I'm not faulting anybody with this, but at the same time, I always say this in every meeting room. So you got your offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, so on and so on. Everybody got a meeting room, right? So you got to have a lead dog in each meeting room. When I say a lead dog, you got to have that dude in that meeting room that don't stand for laziness, lack of intensity, and shows you the way to practice, the way to prepare, and the way to play every week. So every young guy that comes in that meeting room is going to say, oh my God, I'm in the NFL. I got to be like this. So he's going to work his tail off to compete against that lead dog, to stay on that lead dog's hip. And when he's on that lead dog hip, guess what? Everybody wins. But if you in the back and that lead dog is in the back of the room going, and then on Sundays want to flip the switch and be that lead dog, it don't work that way. It don't work that way in the NFL. I don't care how much money you make. It don't work that way. You got to be that dude when you walk into the building and when you leave the building. And then when you leave the building, you got to be that dude at home, in the community, wherever you got to be that dude in the grocery store. When you pushing your buggy, they got to say, that's that dude.
Yep.
That's that dude. And that's how you be successful, because everybody wants to be like that dude. Because everybody's seeing that dude getting a pat on the back and high fiving and getting the new contracts and got all this money. So I want to be like that dude. I'm gonna work my butt off to get what he's getting. And then guess what? It makes everybody better.
But you know what? I'm gonna add to what you just said, because Keenan and Chuck Smith and everybody was basically, they didn't have fear for those coaches.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw Dan Reeves come in the locker room, you straighten up. Is what the message we was getting.
Oh, my
you straighten up and get right when Dan Reeves come in there.
Hold up now. Oh, we'll be in the locker room dancing, joking, whatsoever, and kick him coach. Wait a minute. Not only that, you picked up around your locker, your helmet, and everything.
So everything is straight.
He was attention to detail. Our helmets never hit the ground unless they were on our head and we were hitting the ground with them. It was never on the ground in practice or on game day. We always had our helmets on or in our hands. I mean, it was attention to details. Everybody had to look the same in practice. If you had on black socks, he sent you in to put on white socks. That's the way it was. If you didn't have pads in your pants, he sent you in to get pads in your pants. He says we all gonna look alike, we're gonna dress alike, and we're gonna play as a team. And that's how it was. It was, even though we had individual characters on the team, we still was a team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to say, you sure you wasn't a preacher after you retired?
Got me putting the Holy Ghost up in here.
Look, I got the chain going right here, boy.
Y'all ain't seen me speak at church yet.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Is there a lost art in the receiver position now compared to when you played in the NFL?
Yes, it is. It is. It's a lost art because it's because the college game. The college game is spread and is so wide open whatsoever. So you can have 3, 4, even 5 receivers that don't feel at a time. You know, when we played, you only had the most was probably 3 receivers. So we had to run routes, we had to block, we had to do those things necessary to be successful. And you know, when you understand this, when you line up against that dude, Deion Sanders, if you ain't ready to play, he gonna embarrass you. He gonna embarrass you. You know, I tell you, the game, the routes, the offensive game plans that are implemented today in the NFL really don't cause for receivers to run routes 90% of the time. You get open, you this and that, but you know, it was a time where there was a time where if I'm lined up and first quarter I may have 2 or 3 catches. You know what coach is gonna say? Well, shoot, we're gonna keep going that way until they stop it. So come keep feeding me. Look, I ain't coming off the field. I don't care. I don't care how tired I am. I ain't coming off the field because they feed me and I want to eat and I'm helping this team win. And especially I ain't coming off the field in the red zone. I'm trying to score a touchdown. I don't care. Look, I don't care about catches. I'd rather have 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. Or I'd rather have 6 catches and 3 touchdowns than anything else. So the art, you know what? But you got to understand the era I played in. Let's name a few receivers: Jerry Rice, Michael Irvin, Andre Reed, Chris Carter, Herman Moore, Randy Moss.
Man, amazing.
Then you want to go into it's Terrell Owens. Come on, man. We can keep going. Going. Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. I played in the era where dudes were dudes. I named about 12 receivers. Give me 5 right now that you say, oh, those are dudes. You can't give me 5 right now. You're gonna have to go. I rattled off 12 just like that.
Andre Rison. He mentioned Andre Rison.
I played with Rison. I'm telling you, dude, Rison was special, man. Y'all don't understand how special he was. He was so quick and deceptive, man. He ran some beautiful routes. He had the best hands I ever seen. Those
were amazing years. I'm not gonna lie. We haven't got back to that type of football in a long, long time. I do miss that era. I definitely do. I think that you guys was a great team. That was fun. Going to that Super year.
It was fun. I said something last week on that I asked the fans. I said, "What do you want?" I said, "You guys are spoiled." I said, "You want celebrities as football players, so you don't care about." I said, "Do we care about wins or losses, or do we just want a guy that so we can say that's our guy?" You know, it'd be nice if we get a guy and say that's our guy and we win games with our guy. But you know, we were spoiled starting back with Dion. I said it last week. Starting back with Dion, then it went to Michael Vick, you know, Jamal Anderson, and then so on and so on. Now we in the era where Julio Jones is banged up more than he usually is, but he's still that dude. When he's that dude. You know what I'm saying?
I literally tweeted those words out.
Understand this. Oh. If you wake up on Sunday morning, who do you say you're going to see play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium? You say I'm going to see the Falcons.
Yeah.
Who do you say? Do you say I'm going to see Matt Ryan? Do you say I'm going to see Julio? Debo? Grady?
We're going to see the Falcons play.
Who do you say? But guess what? When the Ravens fans wake up in the morning, guess who they say they're going to see? Lamar Jackson. I'm going to see Lamar Jackson. I'm going to see Lamar Jackson. Oh my God. I'm telling you.
This man just said everything that I said. I'm just sitting here. I've been saying the exact same thing. That we are spoiled rotten because of who, like, greats. And like I said, I'm not saying that is their fault, but Falcons fans have been privileged to have a special a cornerback, a player like Deion Sanders and Michael Vick. We are spoiled rotten. And we don't appreciate guys like Terance Mathis. It's nothing. It was nothing. And God forgive me for saying this. It wasn't nothing. One particular thing. When you look at Terance Mathis, what did Terance Mathis do well? You can't really say it. All you can say with Terance Mathis is he just got the damn job done.
I appreciate that.
You got the catches. You made the big catches when we needed you to make the catch. You got touchdown. We needed you to block. You did all of that, and nobody remembers. Like not saying nobody remember. The real Falcons fan know who Terance Mathis is. It was Terance Mathis. Okay, let's be real. It was Terance Mathis, and then Roddy, and then came Julio. So you're gonna always be the number one. We're gonna always be the number one receiver in this franchise history, bar none. Period. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So
that's why he's number 81.
so let's get back. Let's segue into this now. Let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about the number 4 pick.
Oh, that was going to be pretty much what we leading it to this question. So go ahead with it. We was waiting on it.
As of what? 2
Just
days
basically.
Ago? 2 days ago, that number 4 pick is not as attractive as it used to be. Because of what San Francisco and Miami did when they swapped to get the 3rd. When San Francisco went to 3, and now we know they're probably going to get one of the quarterbacks. So that number 4 pick is not appetizing to teams now because of the fact that, well, we're going to miss out on one of the top 4 quarterbacks that we want. And so we're going to wait and see what you're going to do, Falcons. So, I mean, right now, look, the Bears really need a franchise quarterback. They need to draft a franchise quarterback. They haven't had one ever has a Bears had a franchise quarterback. They played with Jim McMahon and won the Super Bowl, but he was not a franchise quarterback. Understand this. The only way I make that deal with the Bears if they give me Khalil Mack. I trade 1st-round picks with you, and you give me Khalil Mack. Yeah, I do that. I do that all day.
Be right there, like, hey,
look, that's the only way to look. That's the only way the Bears gonna get. That's the only way the Bears gonna get a franchise quarterback. Look, I got my franchise quarterback. Here's an interesting stat, guys. In the last 10 years, there's only one quarterback in every year threw over 4,000 yards. Guess who that is? Take a guess. Matt Ryan.
Matthew.
Matt Ryan. And let me tell you, Brady only did it 4 times. Aaron Rodgers did it 3 times, I think it was.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else closer. I'm telling you. And you want to get rid of this guy? Why? Okay, yeah, he's getting older, and it's I get it.
It's time to kind of get his.
Time.
It's time.
I get it. Let's see. First, let's see what happens under this new regime. Let's see how Matt performs under his 6th offensive coordinator in 6 years. Let's see how he performs. I tell you one thing, though, in free agency, we did one good thing in free agency that I like is picking up Mike Davis from Carolina. I think he's a good receiver out of the backfield, and he runs hard. And I think that's what you need. You need a guy that's going to run hard and make everybody go, ooh, and it uplifts the team. We haven't had that for a while.
And speaking of draft, I know you said with that 4th pick, do you feel the Falcons are going to stay there, or you think it's best to draft back? What is your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is because the reason why I'm going to say this is because the Falcons are only maybe 2 or 3 players away of winning the division and even playing in the NFC Championship game. I'm going to say that. And I truly believe that if you're going to build, Matt Ryan and Julio may have 2 or 3 years left in them. So if we're going to build for after that, we need picks. We need players. So I would get out of the first round and get me some more number 2s, some more number 3s, and number 4s. Let me tell you why I would get more 3s and 4s than I would 2s. Because 3s and 4s going to be like 1 and 2 ain't better than me. And I'm going to show you he's not better than me.
You find some gems in the later rounds.
3 and 4 are going to say, I'm going to show them. And then he's going to say, oh, he should make more money than me. So he's going to not only going to prove to you that he's better than 1 and 2, but he's going to play for a next contract. So that makes him better. It makes everybody better. So 3s and 4s are those dudes because they feel they should be 1 and 2. So I'm getting out of the first round and get me some more 2s, 3s, and 4s and build this franchise for the long haul.
And you got to just look at it like this. Sometimes injuries played why they didn't get up there. Sometimes, of course, the team you might have played for. It could be a lot of situations that's going on that you wasn't that top man. Doesn't mean that you're not great.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you're not good. It just happened you didn't rank at that time. But now you know that you're getting into the NFL. You prepare yourself. You do more than you get ready for this moment, regardless of what part of this draft you get in.
Miss Maggie, 10 minutes ago, I said I was drafted in the 6th round, and I was upset.
There you go.
13 years later, there it is.
There you go.
You're going to find some guys, but you got to do your due diligence. You can't just pick guys because they sitting there. You got to pick guys that you got to already had interviews with these guys and know how they feel. If a guy is hungry or if a guy just saying, it'd be cool to play in the NFL, or if there's a guy that's like, oh my God, it'd be an honor and I'd give my right leg for it. That's the dude I want because my mama be proud, my grandma be proud. This and that. You can find out a lot about a kid when you ask him, when you get your signing bonus, what's the first thing you're gonna buy?
Yeah.
That's telltale right there. If mama is number 2 or number 3 or number 4, you're gonna have problems. Right. Absolutely. If you come before mama, you're gonna have issues with that player. You're gonna have issues with that player. Some kids grew up middle class family, upper class family, so they're fine. But a lot of them have not. So it's like, mama, you done seen mama make magic with some rice and beans. You know what I'm saying? With some tuna helper, huh? You done seen that. So you want to make sure mama okay first. I'm gonna be okay, But Mama, I seen the struggle. Let me do this for you.
That's right. Jew, talk. You got something?
I got one more question for him. Is there any wide receiver right now in the game that reminds you of yourself? So is it any player in the league that reminds you of like a younger Terance Mathis? Does anybody emulate your game in today's game?
Calvin Ridley.
Wow.
Calvin Ridley. If you watch Calvin Ridley is probably one of the best route runners of a young receiver I've seen in a long, long time. He was small like I was when I first came into the league. I think if he gets to the weight room, put on maybe another 5 or 10 pounds of muscle, it will give him more confidence of catching the ball and getting yards after the catch. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's one of those, because trust me, I've been there. I've been there where you're the smallest guy on that field and you got a 225-pound safety coming downhill. It don't feel well. But once I got in the weight room, I got bigger and took the mentality of I'm gonna hit you before you hit me, they wasn't coming down as fast anymore.
Yeah, because we saw a lot of moonwalking from Calvin Ridley, so I'm glad you broke that down.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad you broke that down.
Wow.
Because I've been critical. Of Calvin Ridley. And this is the reason why I said I've been critical, and he may be on the chopping block. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like Calvin Ridley, and I'm not saying I'm not support Calvin Ridley. But when you look at what Arthur Smith, you look at his scheme and what he likes to do with his receivers, he likes to call a lot of routes that, requires receivers to go across the middle. Right. And Calvin Ridley is one of those guys, like Matt Ryan has thrown a lot of bad balls and interceptions, thrown to Calvin Ridley because Calvin Ridley doesn't really want to go over the middle. So do you what I think you already, kind of answered that, but what do you feel as though he needs to do to kind of, get over fear of going across the middle? That's something that you can't get over.
He need to get smacked one time, pow, and get up, shake his head, look around, and say, "I'm still alive." That's all it takes, man. You laugh, but that's all it takes. All you have to do is get smacked one time, catch the ball, get smacked, get up, and I'm good. On my faculties is here. Okay, I'm good. So now you're not afraid anymore. That's where I made my money, is between the numbers. I wasn't no sideline guy. I wanted the reason why I like between the numbers, because I knew I was quicker and faster than every linebacker and every safety. So I knew once I caught it, I was on my way.
And I see a lot of people want that question again with the 4th pick in the draft. Who should you select? I think he already answered that, didn't he? But if you want to go ahead and address it again.
We go hypothetical here. If I'm the Falcons and I'm gonna keep that 4th pick, there's 3 guys I'm looking at right now. The 2 defensive ends at Penn State and the defensive end at Michigan. Those are because at the end of the day, we need that type of player to help put pressure on quarterbacks. Now, you go, well, you've said before you wouldn't pick an edge rusher. Yeah, I said that, but I said if you're going to pick at 4, that's what you're going to have to do. Now, when you pick a guy that high at that position, that's just like paying an offensive tackle and a quarterback. So do you have the money to pick an edge rusher that high? That's the question. That's why I said I wouldn't pick an edge rusher that high, because of the fact that you don't have the money to pay a guy like he's a quarterback or offensive tackle.
Right, it's some sneaking going on here, because you basically saying everything we've been saying.
Man, are you sure you haven't been watching us? You sure you weren't like you saying everything we've been saying?
Good crazy. But see, this is the thing, man. This is the thing. And I tried to put you in a position as if I was a GM and we were sitting in a boardroom and we're sitting there, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with that 4th pick. If we can't get rid of that 4th pick, like we want to and get what we want for it, I'm gonna have to go out and get a dude that's gonna make an impact for us defensively, and that's a defensive end. And that's what you have to do.
I'm all about defense because give us a couple of more pieces on offense. We all right.
Yeah.
It's that defense that scared the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Because going to that fourth quarter every time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the offense getting restless, the defense getting restless, and look what happens.
I'm telling you, this is if I'm sitting there, I'm going, okay, I'm taking Debo with all his speed and plus his size and his quickness. I'm playing him at outside linebacker because he can cover a tight end and run it back out of the backfield, and plus he can rush the passer. He can get there. So I'm going to get a bigger body that's going to fill the gaps on run game whatsoever and get tackle to tackle to make plays. I'm getting that thumper, boom, boom. And I got another guy on the other side that's at linebacker that's going to make plays. So now you got the guy. If Davidson from Auburn that was hurt all year, if he comes back, you got two big old guys in the middle that's going to be stout, that's going to put pressure up the middle. Now you got two guys on the edge. Now what you need a safety. You need a safety that's going to come down in that box, and if that linebacker miss, he's right there. And then you got to have that big rangy safety that can go sideline to sideline. It's sideline to sideline, never gets over his head. And if anything tries to get over his head, he's going to hit somebody in the ear hole, even though it's illegal. Hit somebody in the ear hole and say, "Don't come this way no more." So that's how you build your defense. You got to build your defense through the middle, from the middle going all the way back, from your D tackles to your middle linebackers to your safety, because you're going to find perimeter guys. You can find perimeter guys. You can shake a tree and find perimeter guys. But those middle guys, they're hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
And Terance, we have you on. Well, it's been an hour, so we're going to ask you now. How much longer do we have you, or is it's an hour enough for you? Let us know how long, because everybody's loving you right about now. So
well, my wife don't get home to 10, so I got time.
Well, we won't go that low. But I mean, hey, if the fans are still here, shoot, they're excited to have you. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, no questions are off limits. If I don't want to answer anything, I won't answer. But everything else is let's go.
All right, free game, people. You see that? Put some questions in the chat, and I think we got a couple of that we also have sent you before. Okay. What were your thoughts on Matt Ryan's contract restructure? Compared to who you felt maybe needed to be restructured in replace to that. What are your thoughts on it?
I always said don't do it. I said from the beginning, don't restructure his contract. Just let it play out, because if you just let it play out, you're not going to be in debt if you have to get rid of him. Not as much debt as you're locked in for the next 2 years, because you restructured. You're still going to be, if you release him next year, you're still on the hook for $25 million. And if you wait for the year after that, you're still on the hook for about another $28, $29 million. So why restructure if you're going to stay on the hook with all that money? So, and just let it play out and see how it happens. And that's the same thing, but I'm speaking as if I got Matt Ryan money. I don't ever want to speak for him, because it's money. And I ain't never put my hand in nobody else's pocket. So I'm just saying, this is if I was the GM and I'm looking at it whatsoever, but you had to do it because you were 25 million, almost 30 million over the cap going into free agency. So you had to do something to get that number low to even go out and sign guys to 1-year deals.
And that comes from the bad contract deals we were based from the old regime. Those bad deals that we was putting out there. You got to blame.
Why you smiling? Let's get it. Hey, I want to get into this question.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. You knew after that Super Bowl year that this was coming. You knew that. But But you gave your quarterback 100 million plus. You gave your star receiver all the money, and you gave your defensive tackle a lot of money. You redid Debo, and the thing is, you knew this was coming. Well, you knew it was coming, but you didn't set yourself up for it. It's one of those things that you panicked. When I say you panicked, you said, if I don't get this thing done, we're going to lose these guys. They weren't going anywhere. They were going to be Falcons. They want to be Falcons for life. They wasn't going anywhere. They was going to, what they did was they told you, I need this, or I'm going to play this contract out and get in the free agency and go elsewhere. Okay. Do it. But I'm speaking on GM. I'm speaking as Terance Mathis, GM. At the end of the day, people don't like it. The Falcons got to do what's best for the Falcons. And then on the other side of it, the players got to do what's best for them. So that's what, when you get that button of heads right there, because the Falcons think, the players should think, you should be loyal to us because of this. You're with us. We've taken care of you financially for the rest of your life, so you should stick with us. And the players are saying, hold up. If my productivity goes down, you're going to find a way to trade me, or you're going to release me, or when I become a free agent, you're not going to sign me back to the team. So I got to do what's best for me. So that's why we go back to trust. If there's not a trust from the locker room to the coach's room to the front office, you're not going to be successful. So the front office got to gain trust back from the players, because what happened before, there was a lot of distrust. Plus, we haven't drafted well in the last 3 years, and we got some guys that are playing, like Terrell. He's gonna be a really good football player. But I'm not just talking about first rounders. I'm talking about all through the draft, 6th, 7th round, 5th round. Where are those guys? Where are those guys? If you look at the time that, if you look at the time Dimitrov came in to now, you probably, from the drafts, there's probably only 25% of those guys that's still on the team.
You said a mouthful then.
I got this question for you, since we kind of, went into that. It's like, do you think it was more of an issue with the front office? And I mean the scouting. And scouting, it essentially starts with the GM and his team, and the coaches. They have a say. But what are your thoughts on Thomas Dimitrov? You think he had a clear vision? You think he was ready for that job? For what? I don't think he was ready for the job. I think he was well over his head. I thought they got a guy who was up and coming, and he wasn't necessarily ready for that job. And he got over his head and started making picks and panic moves that didn't pan out.
Well, at the end of the day, I think he did the best that he knew how to do. How about that? I'm not going to say he was terrible. He was over his head. He did the best that he could do, and he did what others wanted him to do. You got to understand now. There's more than just the GM making decisions now. We can say it's the GM, but at the end of the day, there's two other entities that's above the GM that has
basically.
And that's Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. So when I talked about, remember earlier I talked about there's only two people that get wins and losses. That's the quarterback and the head coach. But at the end of the day, if you give me a piece of bread with a hole in it and I make a jelly sandwich, jelly gonna fall through the hole.
Right. It makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? if I'm a head coach, I don't if I can be a genius in X's and O's and game plans and preparation whatsoever, this and that. But if what we say we don't have Jimmy and Joe's, we ain't gonna win. If we don't have those, we ain't gonna win. You see what I'm saying?
It's a collective failure.
It has to be
failure all the way around.
Yeah, it has to be. And you know, today's NFL, as you see, everybody's trying to stack their teams, just like the NBA is doing. Tom Brady put together this football team, and then he brought his football team back together again. That's amazing, dude, because there's a trust they have in that coaching staff and that organization. And most of those guys have played long enough and done enough to say, hey, I'm just playing now for a championship. When your mindset is to win championships and your productivity, you're going to get paid. If your mindset is, I want to be as paid as one of the top 3 guys in my position, your productivity is not helping anyone. It's not even helping yourself to get there. So if you're playing for the team, for your teammates to win championships, your productivity is going to get you paid.
Man.
Why so quiet, man? Why so quiet over here?
Hey, man.
Wait a minute. Did I not warn you before we went on air?
Oh, yes, you did. Man, we don't know what else to say at this point. You pretty much done said it. We over here just loving what you got to say, so we letting you talk.
Tell them we quiet because we've been saying this show after show, and our fans are hard-headed. We've been trying to tell them, but we glad to hear. We glad they're hearing it from you. So now when we say it on repeat, they can't say nothing. We've been trying to tell them that Ryan is not the problem. We've been telling them that coaching matters. All the stuff that you said, especially what you said about coaching. And I have one question that I want to ask you, because this is something that I was kind of pushing on my channel. I don't know if you personally know Eric Bieniemy, that is the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. But personally, I just want to know, and I know this is separate from the Falcons, I want to know if you do know him personally, or if you've studied him, what do you feel about him and why he hasn't gotten a head coaching position? Do you think that he's certified? Because personally, I think he's certified. I think he's over certified.
Oh. He hit on a little bit because he's in the quest also to do the same. And
okay, here we go. He should have been a head coach 2 years ago. Here's the thing. He's a good man. He's a good person. He's a good coach. We know that he puts together the game plans, the practice plans, whatsoever. And when you see Andy Reid come over and say something, it's something Andy might want to see, or if he disagreeing with a play call and they're discussing it. But the enemy is calling the plays. He's the play caller. Now, understand this. You know, when he went through this interview process, somebody came out and said, well, I heard he interviewed terrible. He's not a good interview.
I saw that.
I go, okay. And then during the playoffs, they had him on, I think it was NFL Live speaking, and he gave me chills. I said, that's a head football coach right there. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you the problem here.
Oh, man.
I'm listening.
If a man comes in a locker room and can identify with every player in that locker room, no matter what color, race, religion, whatever it may be, and he can gel with these guys and help these guys to be successful and have longevity because he's mentoring them and teaching them, guess what? He ain't going to be over these men. He's not going to be over these men.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. In today's game, they just want you to be a head football coach, not a mentor to these men. They just want you to come in an office and they want you to gain their trust without you even having relationships with them. And that's a problem because most of these, well, not some of these men grew up with no fathers. And now they looking, I'm playing at the highest level, and this man is my football coach at the highest level. So I'm going to respect him. Everything he says, I'm going to respect. I'm going to do because I haven't had that in my life. And he's going to help me stay where I need to stay and be who I need to be as a professional and as a man. So when that does not happen, that's when the trust leaves. Now you got these athletes looking and saying, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here. This is not a family. You preach family, but this is not a family. I can't even talk to you. You don't even understand where I'm coming from. Think about it. I just told you the league is 70% black and NFL coaching staffs are 70% white. Maybe more, 80% white. Who are they relating to? Who are these players relating to? The street still, social media still.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of players still caught out there in that bustle. Look at who is it? Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Pac-Man just stay in the world of trouble, and he's my alumni. You know, and that man, and like you said, it's not a lot of role models right about now.
I've had conversations with him, and he's a good dude.
Yeah.
He's a really good dude, but we don't take the time. I say we, because I'm a former player, but I do it as much as I can. We don't take the time. The problem is we want to train these men to say we train them and make a little money off of them. But we don't want to mentor them and tell them, this is what you need to look out for, and tell them, look, if you knew my story, you will understand why I am the way I am today, because it ain't been easy. I've made some mistakes, some missteps along the way. I've done some things that I'm not proud of. So I've lost money on stupid things and you know, and investments and all that stuff. So, but I learned I had to go through this to be who I am. So when I get an opportunity to speak to a young man, we sit there, when I train him, we sit there for about 15, 20 minutes. And I'm just telling him, this is what this is what's going on. This is what's going to happen. This is who you are from now on. And you got to live up to that. Mm-hmm. You know, and if we're not doing that, we're doing them a misjustice. We are doing them a misjustice.
And someone asked me, did I go to Westlake? Yes, I did graduate from Westlake. So I definitely knew who Pac-Man was. But because his back, you know, how he was then, you were in the NFL, like you just said. Mm-hmm. You have something more to prove. So regardless of how you might have been, you changed that. Mm-hmm. You changed that because somebody is paying you for this opportunity to be where you are, where you want it to be. Because I remember he was playing basketball. You know, he was doing a number of things. Mm-hmm. And I guess he found his calling in football. But 03. I came out in 03. But we need mentors. You are absolutely right about that. Mm-hmm. They do.
It's your occupation. I mean, it's your job. You know, it's a kid's game, but it's still your job. Mm-hmm. You gotta understand, it's your job. It's your legacy. And I ain't talking about your legacy in the game. I'm talking about the legacy with your family and your children and your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. That's, you know, you can't get it. You can't get it mixed up. Now it's almost like if you was working 9 to 5. It's your job. There's certain things you have to do and the way you have to be to keep your job, because they give you right away. This is what we expect of you. And if we don't get this from you, you lose your job.
Yeah, you're right. Y'all so quiet over there. Y'all have anything else? Let's see what the chat got going on. I know they ready.
I got one question though for them. So during your playing time, who did you have fun beating the most on the outside? Which corner did you have?
Which one did I like going against?
Yeah.
You was gonna get 8 catches. Like call him out.
Any corner that played for the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
Dang.
Look,
if
you look at my stats against the Saints, oh my God, they Hall of Fame
like
stats.
200 yard receiving one time against them. I forget what game it was. You had like 200, almost like 200.
198. 198 in 3 quarters.
Oh man, yes.
Oh, 198, 2 touchdowns in 3 quarters. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I used to love playing against the Saints. You know why I used to play? The Saints didn't cover you. They played zone defense the whole time, and they didn't cover you. And the only time they covered you if it was like 3rd and 4 or 5 or less. And I was like, okay, we got some man-to-man there. But other than that, they played zone. And look, I'm gonna kill you in the zone because I'm gonna find my spot where I need to be in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like the current Falcons. All we're gonna do is play cover 3 and give everything underneath.
Yeah, everything underneath.
Need to run the ball.
Hey, do I need to tell them what I call that defense?
No.
Okay, I ain't gonna say because I have a certain thing that I call that defense. They told me not to do it, so I'm not.
Right. Yeah, don't do it.
We have a question from Black Mario 2419. What do you think about our new GM though? And I like it, but I want to know your idea. How do you feel about it?
You know what? I think here's a guy that's been in an organization that's been winning. They've been drafted well. They've been put together well. They've been successful for a long, long time. And has had an opportunity to be there in the war room and see how to plan, to have a plan. So now he gets an opportunity to go out on his own and devise his own plan to help revitalize this organization. I think it's a really good hire. He's young, so he's gonna make some mistakes along the way. He's gonna make some mistakes. But the thing is, he got to surround himself with people that's going to let him know when he's about to make a misstep here or a misstep there, or really somebody that needs to be in his ear. And I'm just waiting on the phone call. Hey man, I'm there. I'm right there.
You know what?
I'm right there.
Let them know Atlanta Falcons Nation put you on. That's right.
Well, see, the thing is that understand this. This has been a problem with the Falcons over the years. Name one former Falcon besides Ward Dunn, because he's part owner, that is in the franchise as a coach, scout, player personnel person at all. Zero. So you don't have anybody in the organization that when new people come in and say, hey man, this is the lay of the land of the city of Atlanta, of our fan base, and this is what's expected of us, and this is what our players expect, and this is how we need to either jump on board or change the mentality of who we are. So when you don't have that, when you got people coming in that don't know the history of the Falcons and how it was built and the excitement that can be generated around it, they struggle. They struggle at first. So, and there you are. I mean, I think Fontenot would do a good job. But at the end of the day, I told you 7 minutes ago, there's still going to be 2 people looking over his shoulder. And that's Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. And rightfully so, because he's a new guy, hasn't done it before, he's young. So they got to make sure that, they're getting what they paid for.
Well, it looks like Red wanted to bring you a big, huge question, and we all was just disappointed at this debacle right here. But please tell us your reaction to the onside kick debacle. How did we screw that up?
We were pissed off.
You know what? It was one of those things that wasn't prepared. As we said, wasn't prepared. I think, you know, in the heat of the moment when there's a situation stressful enough like that, you know, the ball was kicked, you know, in their mindset, they may have thought, you know, we can stay away from it like it was a punt, you know, and they did. And, you know, they screwed it up whatsoever. So that goes back to, you got to pay attention to details. You can't assume that your hands team understands the rules and know what to do. That's why you got to go over every little detail prior to the game in every situation to make sure that everybody knows what to do. I think 3 or 4 guys didn't know what to do right there. And
someone said it best, lack of knowledge.
That's why you put your guys who have been playing in the game on hands team, because they know what to do. So when you put a group of guys that don't play and all they do is play special teams on that situation, they don't know. But you know, your receivers, running backs, DBs who've been on the hands team ever since Little League all the way through know what to do. So I think they just made a mistake there. I think personnel and coaching at that time, attention to detail, cost them.
Oh, and I see a throwback question right here. I actually want to know exactly, too, how tough was Chris Chandler?
Oh my God. People laugh at me all the time. I say, if Chris Chandler had let me put it this way. If Chris Chandler did not stand in the pocket as long as he did to wait for somebody to come open to make that throw, he wouldn't have had as many concussions as he did. You talking about a tough dude. When we watch film and he drops back and he steps up in that pocket and here comes somebody and he does not care, and he lets that ball go and he's wide open, he gets hit in the chin, bumps his head and concussions. I don't know who. Look, how many quarterbacks today do that? They fall to the ground. A guy can be a yard for him. He feel that he
Brady, Mr. Tom Brady.
This dude never did that. He may have ran with the ball and slid, but he never ducked or dodged a rusher when he had a chance to throw the football. He was a tough dude. And he's paying for it today. You know, he probably have walking CTE right now. He, you know, matter of fact, about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he was in the hospital. He was in bad shape. They didn't think he was gonna make it. But he made it. I seen him about a couple of years ago, and we just reminisced and hugged. And when I say the connection, we talk all the time. It was one of those things that I used to ask him a question. I'm like, hey man, why you throw that ball so early? He says, you do something on every route that's an indicator that tells me when to let the ball go. And I go, okay. So if you can watch film from the end zone behind us, you can see me still in the route and the ball is in the air. But when I turn and get to where I'm supposed to be, is where it's supposed to be. We had a thing is, I told Chris, don't worry how I get there, but I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be on time. And that's what he did. He threw it on time. He's like, okay, it's time. I know he's going to be there. You know what?
Paul Girl said, why the number 81 for you?
That was given to me as a rookie, and it just stuck with me. I had no significance behind it. Funny story about 81. Wow. Oh, my God. I come in as a rookie in New York, so we're trying on equipment, helmets and everything. So we're trying on shoulder pads. Every shoulder pad, remember, I told you I was 160 pounds. So every shoulder pad that they had wouldn't fit me. So after lunch, come back and we'll have some shoulder pads for you. So I come back after lunch. They said, we found you some shoulder pads. And I put them on. I said, oh, these are nice. I said, where'd y'all get them from? I said, hey, we went to the local high school and got your shoulder pads.
Wow.
No, they did not.
Wow.
So
kidding me?
So my shoulder pads, and I was so tiny, my jersey was so big, If you look at some of my Jets football cards from the back, you can see part of the 81 in my pants. You talking about a dude that looked like a scrub? So I would try to pull it out in the back so the number.
You can see the numbers.
Yeah, it was awful.
You just see 0 and half a 1.
It was awful. But I wore those shoulder pads for 13 years. I still have them today. Yep, I'm a Browns.
Wow. Okay. They got Terrance's shoulder pads from Baby Gap. Reggie. Reggie. This is our chat. As you can see, they are crazy people just as much as we are. So they're loving this. That's why it's 150 people right about now looking at us.
Wow. Come on, bring the questions. Let's ask some questions.
Hey, we got some more.
Go ahead.
What y'all want to go with? Let's see. Go ahead. One of y'all got a question. I'm gonna see what the chat's got going on.
So
I got something too.
Outside of Jamal Lewis, who had the best who did the best rendition of the Dirty Bird Day?
You mean Jamal Anderson?
Outside of Jamal Anderson.
Nobody. Nobody. I did it once and I seen it and I was like, oh, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I said, Jamal, that's all you. That was all Jamal. But he didn't originate the Dirty Bird, though.
Of course.
He did not originate it. He didn't even, or the name, the dance or the name. It was O.J. Santiago originated it.
Santiago.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. In New England, we played New England in '98. He scored a touchdown. He got in the end zone. He started doing this. And then we said, boy, what is that? He said, that's the Dirty Bird. Everybody said,
Yeah,
and that's when the name started. That's when it started, right there.
Wow.
We got some old school heads in the chat that know it. There you go. So they was on it before you even said it. So, we got some dirty birds in here that remember all of that. That whole Dan Reeves oh my goodness, that Dan Reeves doing the Dirty Bird.
Yeah, we should have trademarked that name. That team should have trademarked that name. We'd be have a lot of money by now. I'll be sitting in the studio doing this.
I remember the song that came out that year. You can't really find it nowhere right about now. The song that came out that was just, man, that was an electrifying year. I can tell you that.
Let me tell you this. To me and to a lot of my teammates, we feel that everything we've done prior to 2001 has been dismissed.
Yeah.
It's been like we've been the forgotten group. Even Michael Vick is starting to vanish a little bit, but he was still part of the regime when Arthur Blank took over. But we feel a little dismissed by the organization, and it's heartbreaking because those teams were, even though we didn't win a lot, we meant a lot to the city. Everybody knew us. We were down in the city. We were doing community stuff. We were hanging out at the clubs. We were always on the radio. We were always doing something. So people knew us. They can touch us. They can feel us. They understood us. And now it's like everything that we've done and everything that we have cemented has been just forgotten or destroyed. And
I'm gonna add to this before you get to your question, Jew. But I recall that year particularly going into the Super Bowl, we had coaches in regular high school gyms, and the schools were doing the Dirty Bird. Like they were hyping up the schools to do this. It was like a Dirty Bird contest. You had the kids interacting. It was something for families, not just because of the season, but it was just like you said, there was a respect factor. You loved each other. You played like it. It showed it. Every player on that team had a name on that team. So you just couldn't say, oh, Jamal Anderson. You couldn't say, it was so many people on that team alone.
Yeah. We had so many characters. And like you said, like any families, you're going to have riffs and stuff like that, this and that. we used to have our little riffs and that people don't know about, and it's funny because if we had camera phones back then, oh my God, it was hilarious. We had a kid one time, like before we leave, like every rookie in every group has to bring Popeye's chicken for the whole group. So rookie at the receiver position, when we get on the plane, we got to have Popeye's chicken. So a rookie on the linebackers decided he wanted to bring to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh.
So the DB was like, "What the hell was this?" I was running late, and on the way down, that was the only thing that I seen. So I got Kentucky Fried Chicken. They started throwing chicken at him on the plane. Oh my God! The fight breaks out. I'm like, this is crazy. So that's little things like that, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun. If you got on the plane, because Dan made us. When we traveled, we had to dress.
Oh man!
In coat and tie. Coat and tie. We had to dress. So if you came in something raggedy, oh Lord, we got it. Oh Lord, it was hilarious, man. Sometimes you feel sorry for the guys. He God, dog. Those are the days, man. Those are the days. You know what? And the thing is. People always ask me, "Do you miss playing?" I said, "I don't miss Sundays. I miss Monday through Saturday because when we were together all the time, that was the fun part of it. We was only playing 2.5, 3 hours on Sunday, but the rest of the week was the fun time when we did things from Bible studies to doing Friday nights dinners, whatsoever. So what a tradition is that group goes out to dinner every Friday. So the receivers will go out every Friday and the veteran guy pick where we go whatsoever. So I would pick places like when it was my time to pick, I pick places like Chops or something like that. And then the rookie will always have to pay for the meal. We go to Chops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we go to Chops. But if you have the more rookies you have in the group, the better it is because now they can split the bill, whatever they have to do. We go to Chops one time, right? And we got this one rookie, and we all sitting there, and they had a special on Maine lobster, live Maine lobster. This is why I said it this way: live Maine lobster. Live Maine. So they had a special. So it was like, oh wow, nice. And so basically everybody was ordering that. So we get to this one rookie who was from Florida. He goes, I'm gonna have the live Maine lobster too, but I want mine cooked. and I'm going, we laugh. I spit my wine out on the table. I'm just laughing. I said, hey man, they're not gonna give it to you raw. He's gonna be crawling on the table. They're gonna cook it.
They're from Florida. Come on, man. Come on.
So we I don't know what the current situation is with these guys, but I'm telling you,
we need to get back.
I said something. I said, you know what? And correct me if I'm wrong. Do we hear our guys on Black radio during the week after the games?
No.
Do you ever hear them on Black radio? With Ryan Cameron or with Tigger or with Frank Ski.
No.
We don't know who these guys. We don't know who these guys are.
We don't know who these guys are, right? They won't tell.
Oh yeah, it was promotions and commercials and everything. I'm telling you, everybody knew what player was on those teams. You are absolutely right.
We were waiting to get on radio, especially Black radio. We were waiting because, shoot, our people. Come on, Here's a history fact for you guys. From 2001 to maybe 2003, 2004, whenever Michael Vick got in trouble, whatever that year was, 2005, we had more Black season ticket holders than any other team in the NFL. Yeah. And we had we had the longest waiting list of any team in the NFL. The other team that was closest to us was now the Washington football team. And now here we are in 2021. We probably got the least, probably in the bottom tier of black season ticket holders in the NFL. That's why I said we were spoiled. We were spoiled all those years. We were spoiled. If we don't have that dude, we ain't coming to the game. We ain't buying season tickets. Yeah.
Jew, what you got? I know you've been waiting.
Are you good? The question I had, I want to go back a little bit. Earlier in the stream, he talked about the Falcons not necessarily are rebuilding, but we're only a couple pieces away from, I guess, getting back to the Super Bowl or being playoff contenders. So I want to know, with Mr. Mathis being the GM, what pieces do you think we need to add? I think you mentioned edge rusher earlier, but what's another piece you think we need to add to be a contender for the Super Bowl or a contender for the playoffs?
A Jamal Adams type safety, somebody with energy, somebody's going to play and bring that defense at a high level. I think moving Deion Jones and making him rush the passer and cover in space, I think that's going to help us. And I think a thumper in the middle will help us. And then, honestly, I think I said this last week. If you don't want to go spend that money on an edge rusher or with that pick with an edge rusher, okay, I get it. If you just want an edge rusher, go get Alden Smith and pay him $2 million for the year and let him just rush on third down. And then the other guys are suitable enough to play the run and create some pressure. But if you want double-digit sacks, go get this guy and let him play 60% of the game, 60% of the plays, and all you ask him to do is go get the quarterback. I would take that investment because guess what? If I pick one at the fourth pick,
right,
that's about
you can go on
that. You're looking at maybe $12-15 million a year.
Yeah,
you save money, get out of that pick. Just go get one and say, hey, this is how we're gonna use you. We ain't gonna play you a lot, but this is what your job is gonna be. And now you got a dude rushing with some attitude. You find that safety that's gonna come downhill and do his thing. You got that thumper in the middle. That's your three players right there, and we on our way. We already solved the issue with running back with Mike Davis. He's gonna be suitable enough because we know we ain't gonna run the ball, but maybe he'd probably touch the ball 24, 25 times a game. 3 or 4 of them would be passes, and then he's running, then you can suitable. He'll be a factor in the run game for us because he runs hard. And then we got all the pieces on the outside. People sleep on Hurst, the tight end from the Ravens that we picked up. The dude can play, man. He can run. And, Julio has a chance to heal because, look, he ain't played the second half of the season. He had all off season. Now he's healing up. And, hey, man, sky's the limit. I'm telling you, this team. And understand this, we drafted in the last 3 drafts so many offensive linemen, they need to be gelling together by now because they've been playing together for a while. So we should be okay. I would think that another offensive tackle may help move Jake Matthews to the right and bring in somebody on the left side that can protect Matt's backside. I think we're on our way.
And to piggyback on my question, so what do you think about the Buccaneers, because they were able to basically keep pretty much all of their free agents and they basically kept their whole championship team together? Do you think that they're going to be a team that can go back to the Super Bowl, or do you think with the target on their back, they're going to kind of take a step back this season?
Well, they won the Super Bowl with defense, and they made sure they got their defensive pieces back together. And the thing is that you got to understand, none of those guys, you didn't hear anything about they better pay me or I'm leaving. It was quiet because guess what? They trusted the head coach and the front office that they were going to get it done. When he said, you coming back, he meant it when he said, you coming back. And that's what they did. So you didn't hear Fournette saying, you didn't hear Fournette engaging in other talks. You didn't hear Sue engaging in other talks. You didn't hear any of those, Barrett or anybody, David, anybody on that defense engaging in other talks with other teams. You got to understand, these guys are veteran guys that's been around a long time. They've made good money. They just won a Super Bowl. They won another one. And they're going to make money. They're going to continue to make money as long as they're productive and winning football games.
Mike, y'all got a question before I'm gonna re-up? I got one more question I want to ask, but I don't want to hog all the questions. So y'all go ahead. One more question. I just want to know, where does Terance Mathis stand on the GOAT conversation? Because personally, I've been talking with the fans about Tom Brady, and everybody swears he's the GOAT. Personally, he's not my GOAT, but I want to hear where you stand on the GOAT conversation if you engage in GOAT conversations.
After what he did this year, first, if you'd have asked me this last year, I'd have said no. After what he did this year, championships matter, man. I mean, championships matter. I don't care what era you played in, championships matter. And he has the most. And he's done it. He's been there, 12 times? Been to the Super Bowl 11, 12 times? Got 6 rings now? I mean, that's remarkable, man. And at the end of the day, when you leave an organization, go to an organization that finished last or is next to last in the division, and take that team to the Super Bowl and win it. Hey, man, that's some LeBron James stuff right there. So right now, Tom, until the next one comes along, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time.
Okay, I got a question.
Y'all don't like Tom Brady because he played for the Patriots.
I can't handle it.
I just think he's just one of the most privileged quarterbacks. I'm just gonna be real, man. Championships matter. I never say championships matter, but come on, man. How many times how many times have we heard this man talking about other teams talking about this guy and they did this and he got this call and I didn't get this call? We seen Matt Ryan get knocked the bloody hell out, no flag, and you crawl at Tom Brady's knees and you get a flag.
Well,
T-Sizzle fell at his legs and they got a call. He fell at Tom Brady's legs.
Look, man. Look, guess what? If Matt Ryan had 6 Super Bowls, they'd be doing the same thing for him.
Come on. No.
Think about
it,
man. I'm telling you, that's just the truth, man. That's the truth. I mean, he's the All-American kid, and he has a great story. Think about it. He has a great story. Drafted in the 6th round from Michigan, and steps in when Bledsoe gets hurt, and the rest is history. I mean, it's a great story.
All right, I'm gonna piggyback off that with this question. So when are we going to expect the 30 for 30 with Tom Brady narrated by Drew Bledsoe?
About what? Saying what?
I said the 30 for 30 with starring Tom Brady narrated by Drew Bledsoe.
Oh Lord.
And Bill Belichick too.
You know what, man? That was the second time that I remember where the starting quarterback gets hurt, who was an All-Pro and been to a Super Bowl, and gets replaced, and when he gets healthy, he never gets his job back. Another time in history was the Magic Man from Green Bay when he got hurt and Brett Favre stepped in and history was wrote. So, I mean, it happens, man. And the thing is it's just his time. It just happens for him. I mean, at the end of the day, I want 6 rings. Shoot. If it had to be with Tom Brady, I'd do it with Tom Brady.
You're right. I think we're going to go ahead because it's going on 2 hours, so we're probably going to wrap it up with a couple of last-minute questions. But let's get to Black Mario's question. Terance, do you think Pease can turn the defense around, maybe top 10?
Yes. I would say if you finish in the top 15, you have a chance to win the division and go on deep into the playoffs. Because we've been bottom, that jump halfway would take you where you need to go. So I like Pease. I like his mentality. I like his demeanor whatsoever. He's no nonsense. Thing is, he's gonna earn your respect, and he's gonna respect you. That's what I know about Pease. He's done a great job in the NFL for years.
Okay. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Just giving the questions to some of the fans here.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Got one question. One question. When you played with the GOAT, you played with the greatest of all time, Jerry Rice. You've seen Jerry Rice, his work ethic, how he, got on the field and what he did on the field. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Like a lot of people, including myself, I like to compare Julio Jones to Terrell Owens. I think Terrell Owens is probably one of the most complete receivers I've ever seen. Who is, without a doubt, the greatest receiver, just talent-wise, not numbers and all that. When you look at talent, the most talented receiver that you've ever seen, like it doesn't have to be a Julio, it doesn't have to be some guy that like is well known, like a talented wide receiver, one of the greatest wide receivers as far as talent is concerned.
Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice. I got a chance to play against him in our division. And the things that he could do, he can catch a hitch, go to distance. He can catch a screen, go to distance. He can catch a slant, go to distance. Any route, he can run any route there is, what we call on the passing tree. He can run any route to perfection. Great hands, great run after the catch. And he works his butt off to be that way. Comes from an HBCU, Mississippi Valley State. People say, oh, hey, this guy. And then people make the argument, well, look who he played with, Joe Montana, Steve Young, whatsoever. And I go to you, well, if he didn't get open, they wouldn't throw him the ball, right? So he had to get open. It wasn't like he wasn't getting open. He got open and he made plays. And the 49ers, with their offensive scheme, when he was hot, they kept going to him. And that's what I like about coordinators. When you have a dude that's on fire, keep giving him the ball and finding a way to give him the ball until they figure out how to stop him. And by the time they figure it out and adjust to the other one, that other dude is going to start killing them. And then they're going to be off kilter and don't know what to do. It seemed like in the past, when we start going good with something, we go away from it. And then we do something totally opposite. And you go, what is that? And for instance, I'm going to give you a situation. I don't know if it was the Seattle or the Green Bay NFC Championship game here in the Georgia Dome, where it was 4th down. We had the ball.
I was at that game. I think it was.
And whoever the coordinator was caused the play for Matt Ryan to roll out. And when they did that, I said, that is the dumbest play on 4th down, because you're only playing half the field. You're only playing half the field.
Yes, oh my God.
Half the field.
Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you.
And that leads us to a question from Keyshawn. Speaking of offense and offensive coordinators, of course, do you think Arthur Smith is going to run the mess out of them boys? Because our biggest thing is run the ball right about now.
You know what? This is what I think. They've been so quiet in Flowery Branch. We don't know what to expect. We don't hear from Arthur Smith. We don't hear anything. It's been so quiet. It could be a good thing. I'm gonna say it's a good thing. Okay. Understand this. When you have a coach in Tennessee like Vrabel, who is a hard-nosed, hit him in the mouth type coach, he was told, run the football. You got Derrick Henry back there, run the football, and I get it. And I think when you're an offensive coordinator, you do what your head coach tells you to do, and you find a way to do it effectively. But when you get your own gig, you want to do your thing.
Yep.
You want to do your thing. Think about all the toys this dude has. You think he gonna run the ball 50 times a game? Oh, no. I can see him run the ball maybe 30 to 35 times a game. But dude, he got all them weapons.
Oh yeah.
Man. That's like
and you already said you're not gonna know which way they coming.
You don't know which way they coming. Yeah. So I like where the Falcons are headed. I was scared until they signed Mike Davis. Now free agency is still going on. Now it's the draft. We would know what direction these Falcons are going in with the draft. And it's not even with the 4th pick, because you got to understand we have more picks after the 4th pick. So it's what they do from round 3 to 6 or 7. So then we'll know more where the Falcons are.
Yep. Okay. I got one final question. I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. Let's talk about your own podcast, Atlanta Sports Unlimited. How did that get started?
Y'all know Terance Moore, the writer Terance Moore.
Oh yeah.
He and I are friends. We've been friends for years. He's controversial. He does, I get it. He says things, he's off the wall. But when he and I talk, it's candid, and we have a great relationship where, to the point that he knows what's on the record and what's off the record when I talk. So he worked with he does things CNN, Fortune Magazine, Sports Illustrated. So last year, before COVID hit, we were talking about doing something with Sports Illustrated on a weekly basis. And then he evolved into this. So, Sports Illustrated was sold. So everything was stopped. So then this came about, and he asked me to do it. And one thing I said to him, I said, look, don't give me a script. Don't tell me what to talk about.
Absolutely.
You won't know what I'll talk about until I hit the button that I'm on air. So it's been very organic. It's been me, because I've done other shows before where I just felt like it wasn't me. And now I'm finally get a chance to be on shows like yours and having my own, where I can just talk and be real, where if we were sitting in my man cave and we just talking.
Oh yeah.
And I think I don't want you to turn on ESPN and say, oh, he just said that. He just talked about that. He just talked about that. I just heard that on ESPN, or I just heard that on Fox Sports. No, I don't want that. I want you to get my thoughts, my feelings, raw, and no mixing.
That's what Atlanta Falcon Nation is, you guys. Some people, basically, we've been getting some feedback about, oh, you need to be a little bit more professional. You need to be, you got to look like you're ESPN.
Right.
Atlanta Falcons Nation is not that, unfortunately.
Well, that's, I've been.
We don't want to be that.
It's been that, we are running out of time, because what time is it? 9:07?
Yeah. Wife coming home in an hour, so
yeah. Not only that, she blowing up my phone right now. I ain't answering, and she's wondering where I am. Oh, look, let me tell you, my family is so funny when I don't answer the phone. Now my daughter's calling me.
Oh, so where you at now? Where you at, Dad? You answer the phone.
My son calling me. When you get older, they got to check on you. I get it.
You're having a good time. Let them know you're having fun, but we're not going to hold much of your time up. It's been 2 hours. It definitely. And I appreciate you being here this long with us, and it just felt like you was a part of the show. You're a part of the team. Anytime. And guess what? We would like to come to your show one day.
Oh yeah. See,
now think about that, guys. I would love that.
Now that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun, because
let's make it happen.
I got real with you guys. That one is more football more. I get more intense with the football stuff. But you guys made me sweat tonight, though.
What are you doing for the draft show? What are you doing for draft? Are you, sitting at home, or are you
I'll be at home
somewhere to be? Because we are doing a live draft show, at least for the first round, with these fans here. So if you have nothing else to do and you just want somewhere to talk a little bit, even if it's just a couple of minutes, we already kind of got somebody that said they might be in for a couple of minutes just to give their little feedback. Because everybody waiting on that 4th round pick. So I'm ready to see some faces and some pouting in the chat. So if you have nothing else to do, the invitation is open for you draft night.
All right, no problem. I'm in.
Okay.
Well, hope tentatively I'm in. Something may come up.
That's what I'm saying. Based on your schedule, I'm just putting it out there for you. But of course, we know that's a busy time and everybody is obligated to something during that time. So if you got something to do, just let us know. But we'll reach out to you, see if you open, even if it was just a couple of minutes. People just want to see you again.
Yeah. So let's see. Definitely, we got to talk after the draft, because either I'm gonna be mad or I'm gonna be happy. And if I'm mad, I'm gonna bring it hard.
I think that might be the moneymaker show right there.
Our after shows are always amazing too. So.
I might have 3 bottles of water that show.
They already said it. Please come back. Please come back. We're seeing it. Please come back.
I want to leave you guys with this. Always be loved, and you will get love. Always uplift, never tear down. My whole thing is this. When I'm going to say this, I'm saying this on this premise. It's none of our business what Deshaun Watson is going through right now. It's between him, the individuals, and God. Mm-hmm. We are no place to judge anybody because we are all sinners in God's eyes. It's just by his love, his grace, and his mercy that we are here today. So be blessed, and I love you.
Perfect. And we touched on it as well. It was like, look, only the truth will be told for that situation. I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We'll get you back to your phone call. They blowing you up now.
Yeah.
So thank you, Terance.
Yeah.
We'll reach back out to you. We appreciate you. Thank you.
2 hours and 2 minutes. And
yes.
Hey, I love it. The only problem, maybe next time I'll be on my deck smoking a cigar while we talking.
Hey, we can make that happen. The after show, after the draft, we'll get you. We'll get you.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. 81. Yeah, everybody say bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. God bless Mr. Mathis. That's what they're saying. Thank you, Mr. 81. We appreciate you. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
All right. Good.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So basically, wonderful show, people. Wonderful show. It's been 2 hours. So, hey.
It didn't feel like it.
It didn't.
It did not feel like 2 hours.
He said, thank you. There's a lot of people said, nice going. So y'all go follow him on his podcast and stream. But I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. And we've been going on for 2 hours. So let's wrap it up.
Let's give just this quick 2 point. I just want to start with this, man. This is exactly what we want. And we're going to continue to, give you guys. Like, we're going to give you nothing but the hardcore facts, truth, the facts, stacks, and the truth. This is what it's all about. All right. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear it from the horse's mouth. You're going to hear it from the reporters, like Tori McElhaney. Like, you're going to hear it from these guys. We're going to reach out to these guys to give you exactly what ESPN is not going to say. We heard it from Terance today. They feel unappreciated. This is exactly how we feel as fans. They don't appreciate us. He is a former player. Don't feel appreciated. He's been disrespected. He's one of the greatest receivers he's one of the greatest receivers I've ever seen. He wasn't blessed to run a 4.2, but he made it 13 years in the freaking league and piled up almost 600, almost 700 receptions in his career. All right. And he didn't have 150 targets a season. He didn't have that. So this man had to work his behind off to get there. So this is what it's all about. A lot of people like now, we like to, label guys greatest of all time before they even get in the league. This man worked his ass off to even get there. So he deserves our respect. He deserves it. He worked his ass off. He was a 6th round pick. Told he was too small. And he worked his ass off to get where he is. So let's give these guys, the Atlanta Falcons players, man, the respect that they do, and stop going at these guys on Twitter. Like you said before, man, it's all about you get love, you give love, you will get love. And that's all I got to say about that.
Like what Pre-Brown said, he had many quarterbacks throwing to him too, and one of the greatest route runners in the NFL history. So look, these guys are slept on, people. We need to go to Flowery Branch email or whatever we need to do. Honestly, he's right about that. That team right there alone, that era right there alone is forgotten. You ain't Michael Vick or anybody like that. You're overlooked.
You're an afterthought if you ain't Michael Vick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we ain't gonna go into that speech, but my last 2 points is, people, go ahead and share out this content. If you know somebody you want on the show, hit them up and say AFN is looking for them. Just go ahead and get us to 1,000. Because we are pretty much, I didn't even look at the number. We're definitely trying to get there. So we appreciate everybody that's tuned in. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on that one. Subscribe to the channel, to share out this content. It was amazing to interview. Thank you, people. Absolutely. That's all I got to say. Go ahead, Juju.
Hey, like she said, go over to AFN, hit that subscribe button. Y'all helped your boy get to 1,000 at Jew Talk Sports. Hey, let's help us here at AFN get to 1,000. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Like Mike said, this is why we bring on former players, reporters, because we want to get their unfiltered opinion. He's telling you, like, all of the stuff that we say, we've been saying, he pretty much was saying verbatim, pretty much a lot of the things that we've been trying to tell you guys about the stats, the facts, and the truth. We don't try to give you guys the false narratives that's out there. We give you guys the facts. And he basically came up here and told you guys, this guy, 13 years in the league, like I said, he's a legend. I'd hope that the Falcons, Arthur Blank, Rich McKay, they need to reach out to these former players. Like, he's a player that could be a mentor to a player like Calvin Ridley. He was talking about it. What Calvin Ridley needs to do to get used to being hit. He needs to get in the weight room. Chuck Smith, we've been struggling with pass rush. That's what he does. He's a professional pass rushing specialist. Like, that's what he does. So we need to reach out to these old Atlanta Falcons greats. Like, we don't need to forget about these guys. And that's why I love here at AFN that we bring these guys on the show so we can reminisce about the great times and how good of players these guys were. He was, all of these guys that we're seeing now, these younger guys, Julio Jones, Roddy White, they're standing on these guys' shoulders. Like, Terance Mathis was the first guy that was leading our team in receptions and yards, touchdowns. And now Julio Jones, Roddy White, all these guys that we're seeing now, Calvin Ridley, they're standing on our shoulders. So we definitely need to give these guys their flowers while they're still here. But like we said, man, we're going to continue to bring you guys the best Atlanta Falcons content. And like I said, it's going to be unfiltered. That's what I loved about this interview. He was down to earth and he was just giving it to us straight. He was like, if y'all ask me, I'm going to answer to the best of my ability. No question is off limits. And a lot of the times, and I think Maggie can vouch for this and Mad Mike can vouch for this, when we do our interviews, everybody's not like Terance, where they're going to give you you can ask them any question and he's going to answer it. A lot of the times they want to, they want certain questions. So I really enjoyed this interview and I can't wait to have him back on the show because he has some great stories. I just like hearing their stories and things of that nature and hearing what they had to go through. For him to be a 6th round pick and then to be a Pro Bowler, that's just amazing. But that's pretty much all I had. You guys definitely continue to tune into Atlanta Falcons Nation. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Now I'm going to kick it over to Kstlyz.
Somebody said Andre Rison, Jesse Tuggle, Deion Sanders. We writing them down, people. We trying. We definitely want to get some more former players on the show. Go ahead. Oh well, Mike jumped off. I know he was having some. There you go. Go ahead, Matt. Mike, you gonna go ahead and end it? I think you went Kstlyz. You didn't either. Go ahead, Kstlyz.
Y'all about to say fuck Kstlyz, huh?
The hell with Kstlyz.
The hell with Kstlyz.
Go ahead, Kstlyz. My bad, sir.
All right, yeah, like I said, I appreciate Terance dropping them gems on us in this stream today. Like I said, I appreciate everybody tuning in with us. Like I said, make sure y'all follow Atlanta Falcon Nation. We're trying to get to the 1K side of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do this. But
oh yeah, and get Terance Mathis to the 1,000 fans too. Go back if you see the chat. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Get him there as well.
Sports Unlimited, Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Check their channel out, man.
Here's the link right there. Go ahead and get him to 1,000 as well, people. He got some gems, and he got more of it on his channel. So go on over there and follow.
Exactly.
We appreciate y'all.
And like you said, you follow Just Kstlyz channel. Like I said, I am 775 away from 1,000. So
you really be counting more, don't it?
So we taking it one day at a time, but at the end of the day, this is all love and this is appreciative for everybody that tunes in every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you didn't get a Kicking It with Kstlyz show today. You got a Kicking It with Terance Mathis show today.
Yes,
you will get a Kicking It with Kstlyz. I already kind of got something set up, so we might just go ahead and do that tomorrow or whatever. So we'll get a Kicking It with Kstlyz. But people, on that note, let's go ahead and end this day because it's been 2 hours and I'm ready to eat. So holla at your people.
You ain't got
Maggie's gotta go. You gotta get the hell out of here.
You gotta get the hell out of here.
Appreciate y'all, people. Peace out, people. Peace out. And we will write down those names and reach out to these players. We appreciate y'all. And we're out.